Are these direct?
I can't.
Are these direct comments?
I don't want them to be killed. Okay, I don't want them to be killed.
Mr. President,
nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now. You know, nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country. But a top person, don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with a man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. They've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader.
So it's not Mojtaba.
Well, nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these direct?
We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while you see a statement made, but we don't know this living. But the people that seem to be running it, and they seem that based on really facts, because things they've said have taken place.
Can you say who that is?
I can't.
Why not?
Direct comments?
I don't want them to be killed. Okay, I don't want them to be killed.
Mr. President,
nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now. You know, nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country, but perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Mr. President, you've deployed ICE agents to American airports. Newsmax, sir. You've deployed ICE.
You're not doing a very good job.
You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go ahead.
What exactly do you want from
You
these
believe it? I'm
talks?
taking CNN over Newsmax.
What exactly are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that. And I think
The enriched uranium?
We've agreed to that. We've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before you can end this
And we
war.
want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium. If this happens, it's a great start for Iran to build itself back, and it's everything that we want. And it's also great for Israel, and it's great for the other Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Kuwait, and Bahrain in particular. So it's great for all of them.
If the war is ending, do you still need $200 billion?
It's always nice to have. It's always nice to have. It's a very inflamed world, and the Democrats inflame it. You know, largely the Democrats inflame it. And let me just talk about the others. So ICE has done very well. I've requested. Now, you know, I'm a big believer that they should be able to wear masks when they go and hunt down, murderers, criminals, and others. But for purposes of the airport, I've requested that they take off the mask. I don't like it for the airport, and I believe they are willing to do that.
Why do they wear masks not at the airport, but they need to do it when they're out in the country?
Because the people coming into the airport, typically speaking, aren't murderers, killers, drug dealers, etc. There may be a few of them, but there aren't many. They're people that want to come into the country, or that people want to leave the country, going to maybe their home country. So I didn't think it was an appropriate look for an airport. I think it's a very appropriate look when they're out on the street, trying to find one of the 11,888 murderers that Sleepy Joe Biden led into our country.
Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus. Sorry. Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus to UK workers who kept showing up to work during the shutdown. Will you do that again?
Well, it could happen. It's amazing. There's people that are really, really loyal and great, and not easy for them. And this is all caused by the Democrats. Just so you know, all this money was approved. Everything was approved. This is done. The Democrats went in, and they want to have radical left lunatics come into our country. They want to have drug dealers. They want to have murderers come into our country. They want to have open borders, and we're not letting it happen. That's what this is all about. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want mail-in ballots. They're so corrupt. What they want, the only thing they want is mail-in ballots. So we also added, as you know, into the Save America Act. And it's called Save America. It's not the Save Act. So we added no transgender mutilization of our children and no men in women's sports.
Sir, Elon, if these talks go well, and you reach
I don't think he's going to be a mismatch.
If these talks go well and you reach a ceasefire agreement with Iran, do you believe Israel would abide by that agreement?
I think Israel will be very happy with what we have. We just spoke to Israel a little while ago. I think they'll be very happy. This will be peace for Israel, long-term peace, guaranteed peace. If this happens, I can't guarantee it, but I think it's going to. My life is a deal. That's all I do is deals my whole life. I think this is something that's going to happen. And why wouldn't it happen? So tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plant that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
And if they don't go well, sir, and you target...
You said you want to get the enriched uranium. How are you going to get the enriched uranium? Are you going to send
very easy. If we have a deal with them, we're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Can I ask you, and if the Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil that was out this week, you criticized President Obama for giving Iran $1.7 billion.
Well, I just want to have as much oil in the system as possible.
But Iran is
and we don't even know if Iran gets that money. Frankly, I think it's very hard for them to get it. But you have ships that are out there that are loaded up with oil. Rather than keep it there, I would rather see it go to the system. Any small amount of money that Iran gets is not going to have any difference in this war. But I want to have the system be lubricated.